Everyone, this is Olivia from Lightspeed Golf. In this video, we are going to look at how to do inventory counts and how to manage and create purchase orders and check them in as well. So let's get started. I'm in my retail account. Let's start by creating a new inventory count today. So I'm going to click on the inventory counts button, which is in the inventory tab. And on the top right corner, on that green new inventory count button, let's create a new inventory count. So let's give it a name that's a little bit descriptive, just so we have a quick way to know which kind of period we did this inventory count for. I'll call it spring 2024. Let's hit save changes. And now we've got a few new options populating. First thing we want to do is actually add items to our inventory count. So there are a few different ways we can do this. One way to do this would be to use a barcode scanner. If you've got one, you can scan your items and count those items here using this search box. Once you scan the barcode, it'll populate here and you can just hit count item to add it to the counted item list down here. You could also manually search. So for example, if I look up dresses, I could now see all the inventory that is in conjunction with that search item. So I've got my dress added to the counted items list down here. So the other way to do this would be to import a file. This would be hyper useful if you've got a copious amount of inventory items that you want to add to this count. It's just a quicker, more efficient way to do that. And if you're not sure how to format that file, you can click on download template over here and it'll give you the right columns and headers, and you'll be able to just select the file once it's ready to be uploaded and open that up over here. Okay, you'll be able to follow instructions in the bottom right corner once your import's complete. For example, it's asking us to map the columns. This is just basically telling us it wants us to know where to take the information from the file and store it in Lightspeed Retail. So my identification ID column in the template, I would want it mapped to my system ID, just because that's how it's being, that's how it's corresponding. Same thing with quantity. That makes sense. It should map to counts in Lightspeed. This is where the info is going to be stored and how. Okay, we could also verify the file. It'll check for errors. Just follow the instructions on these buttons over here as you go, but you'll be able to upload your template for a quicker, bulk addition of items to be counted in the inventory count down here. Okay, let's go ahead and add a couple more items though. I'll just add a shirt, and maybe I'll add a sleeve of balls as well. So let's go ahead and hit those Pro V1s. Great. So as you can see, I've started my inventory count. I've got 3 items down here. And another way you could actually do an inventory count is by populating the counted items list using one of these methods. You could also go to print item list, this tab down here on the left side, and you could actually print this list out for your staff. If you have multiple people doing counts and you want to hand these out, you can print the list and you'll be able to actually have your staff track it and manually go back into the system and update the figures later. But you can create manual printout sheets this way as well if you'd like. But just going back to our accounts page, once we're satisfied with the items that have been added to this inventory count, we are ready to move on to our totals screen. Okay, so just kind of working my way down these tabs on the left-hand side. Once I'm on the total screen, this is kind of just a recap of what I've just done. It's going to give you a quick glimpse, make sure everything looks kosher. In this case, actually, maybe I want to update some of the counts. They are not accurate. My Pro V1 sleeves says I should have 1, but actually I've got a surplus, so I'm going to indicate that here. Okay, my green shirts tells me I'm out, but maybe I actually have 1 left. Let's go ahead and update these counts. Just gives me the ability to manually modify that information. Okay. So once you're kind of satisfied with the way everything looks, let's hop on down to the missed tab. And this is going to tell me what, if anything, in my inventory has been missed from this count. Okay, so clearly I could see I've got that blue shirt here. I could either zero that out, by clicking 0, or I could actually update the count over here by clicking, by inputting the correct count. Okay, if I wanted to update that. If you had multiple items in a list form down here, you could actually select them all at once by hitting this check mark button and zeroing all the selected items at once. In this case, I've got 1 item, so it doesn't make a difference if I hit 0 or 0 selected items. Let's just zero it out. And now I am ready to reconcile my inventory count. So let's hop on down to the reconcile button over here. Now, before hitting reconcile inventory, it's very important to remember that once you hit this button, you cannot reverse that action. It cannot be undone. So just keep that in mind before you hit that button. Sometimes we see courses that maybe didn't check in with their staff, and it turns out that some staff are actually still in the middle of counting inventory while somebody else has reconciled an inventory count. So just kind of want to avoid that confusion. So just keep that in mind. Okay, I am now ready to reconcile my inventory, so I'm just going to hit that button. And as you can see, it's now reconciling it for me. And I can see that 4 items have been reconciled. Okay, so now I want to look at my shrinkage. I can do that by hopping on down, you guessed it, to the shrinkage button. I could see, basically the cost change value, if any. This information is just going to be useful for you as you kind of decide how to proceed with your inventory ordering and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's really how to do an inventory count. Once again, back to the counts page, just remembering there are multiple ways we can add items to the inventory count: barcode scanning or manually searching, importing a template and a CSV file, or doing it manually by printing out those item lists as well. Okay, guys, so that's our spring inventory count 2024. And if I go back to my inventory counts list, I could see it's lives here as well. So I could always go back and reference it at a later time if I need some information and I want to see kind of what was reconciled or what was my shrinkage at that time. All right, let's hop on over and do a purchase order now. So I'm back in my inventory tab in retail. Let's go ahead and we're going to click on new order just because I want to create a new one with you guys today. However, if I wanted to refer back to some previous purchase orders or see the status of some ongoing ones, I could click on this button over here. We'll come back to that later, but for now, let's start a brand new order. The status, I will keep this open because it's brand new, but if you want to change the status, you could do that over here in this drop-down menu. You don't have to determine a vendor. If you're not ordering from any specific vendor, that's fine. You could leave that blank. This information is optional, but if you want to add some details to your PO, go ahead and put those here. Let's save changes. And now we have the ability to make some further specifications. So for example, if you have additional shipping costs that are going to be associated to this purchase order, you can update those here. You've also got a drop-down menu of some options. If you need to be splitting that cost by, based on certain factors, you can determine that here. If you've got other fees or charges associated to this order, you can update that here as well. Same thing with discounts and so on and so forth. Okay, leave a general note. These are all kind of helpful tools here and there if you need them. Now, we want to add our items to the purchase order. So we can manually search those here by, searching the item and clicking add item. We could also add all the items from a specific category if we want. Click on that plus all button. Let's say I want all my accessories being added. I can select those and click OK. I could also, have a subcategory populating this if I want to. So this is a great way to add items in bulk. If you don't want to manually cherry pick one by one, you would click that category and click auto add all, just this blue button over here. Okay, for today, let's go ahead and add some apparel items. So I'd like to re-up on the Lily Pulitzer women's dress, and maybe I'd like to add a couple more shirts to my inventory as well. So we're just gonna go ahead and add, I'm manually searching here individually. And oops, so if you click on the actual item, obviously it'll bring you to the details of that item in question. But in this case, I want to add the green shirt to my inventory, to my purchase order. So here we go. I've got my dress, my 2 shirts added to my PO, and I have the ability to update the information and modify it down here as well. Okay. If you forgot to put a unit cost in, for example, when you initially set up your inventory, you could update that here. If the unit cost has changed, you can update that here. Let's say the base price of my red shirts has actually gone up a couple dollars. I can update it, and it's going to calculate all that fun stuff for me. Okay. And we can also update the quantity on these orders. So let's just add 10 of each. All right. I am now looking over the details. Everything looks good. I'm actually ready to place my order. Okay. PO is ready to go. Let's go ahead and hop over to the email tab on the left-hand side over here. Now, I can place my order directly in Lightspeed Retail by hitting this email button and, inputting the contact information of who's supposed to receive this order. I can put my message in here and email the order, and, I'll be able to submit it this way. Okay? However, if you are going to be submitting a purchase order externally, not using the email function here and not using Lightspeed Retail, that's okay. But we do want to update the status and change the status once we're ready to mark it as ordered. Okay, so right now it's marked as ordered. Let's say everything's been ordered, everything's good to go. My shipment has come in. Let's check in this purchase order. I'm going to click check in. And as I can see, right now the status is not yet received, okay? You could either update the items individually if, for example, only part of your order, came in. But if you're satisfied and all 10 items of each item have been received, we could actually just go ahead and click received all items, okay? Now that I've marked all my items as received, I do need to add the received items to the inventory in order for this purchase order to be finalized. So let's go ahead and add the received items to the inventory. Before I do that, it's going to give me a nice little recap of everything. Let's go ahead and hit add items, and voila, it is now telling me that 30 items have been added to the inventory, and everything is checked in and ready to go. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on finished. And my purchase order has now been finalized. Okay, let's go back and see where this lives now. I'm going back to my inventory tab and I'm going to hit purchase orders. Okay, and I can see that, this is the purchase order number 8 is the one we just looked at. It has been finished. And if I click back into it, I could also see the history of what was ordered and completed. Okay, folks, so there you have it. That is how you do inventory counts and check in purchase orders. Thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned for some more tips and tricks on how to get your courses ready and up and running for the start of the season.